Oh, this panel on plastics. Plastics has been a great source of aggravation for me.
I think of these things every day when I take a drink of water, if my water is going to be clean tomorrow.
And I wanted to hear from professionals because I want to know what more can I do.
Two of the panelists talked about the making of petrochemicals or plastic and how it had long-term health effects for their community. I've never thought about that.
Really, if we stop plastic today, what are we going to do with all the plastic garbage already? So something has to happen with it.
To know that in Louisiana and for indigenous peoples, so many of these plastic factories are in their area, the cancer incidences, that I think has to be our very first aggressive getting it to stop. And if they can't stop the plastic, take more responsibility for how their wastes are being used and how they're impacting the community. But I also was passionate, what can we do to replace plastics?
Every day when we go out, from your food, your clothing, your transportation, your housing, how to refuse or reduce to use so-called plastic materials.
I recently had a student come to meet with me for conversion because she was having a spiritual crisis. She was an indoor organic chemistry graduate student at CU Boulder, and she was talking about all of the chemicals and plastics that are on our walls that are interacting chemically and causing harm to the human body. And she said, Rabbi, this is like how the tobacco companies knew that tobacco can cause cancer, but nothing was done. And she didn't know what to do about that. I think this issue is going to blossom in the coming years because it turns out it's not just that we have a ton of trash, and there is trash all over the planet.
Because we all face the same type of hardships when it comes to the fossil fuel and the petrochemical industries that produce plastics. My elder once said, you know, you have to ask yourself, what do you think was going to happen when you start sucking death out of the ground, right? He would say that the only real way to fix things, you know, it's love. Because if you love the air like you love your children and your loved ones, and you know, you're going to want to make sure that the air not just survives but thrives. You're going to want that air to be healthy, to be clean. We acknowledge that we are connected and related to all things. You know, the trees are going to help, the oceans are going to help for me to breathe, then let me help that ocean. Let me help the trees.